Guys, we're going to wrap it up. First of all, thank you to everybody that has stayed in this room. I see Steve Taylor. Joe Gertner's been sitting here. I called him out earlier. Mike McGurk, you went up 6th, and you're still right there. '19 Hall of Famers, Antonio Thomas, Big Daddy. Love you guys. Thank you for sticking around. Like I said, I was supposed to be in New Jersey tonight. I canceled it because I wanted to be here, and I'll be damned if I'm not going to induct. I am the inductor for our main event of the evening. Thank you very much. I'm going to keep it as quick as I can. I was actually timing it earlier. I think I can do this in less than 2 minutes. You guys all right if I induct Barry Horowitz into the Hall of Fame? Thank you. Our final inductee into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, class of 2023, is Mr. Barry Horowitz. Barry got his formal training from Professor Boris Malenko in Tampa, Florida, and made his professional debut in 1979. How am I doing? Am I right? I'm good? All right. As Barry Hart, he made his first appearance for the WWF in October of 1981 in a televised match against Angelo King Kong Mosca. He would compete there as Barry Hart for a couple of years in the WWF and then move on to Jim Crockett's NWA as Bret Hart long before there was a Hitman. Is that bad? All right, I watched that shit. 1985, he returned home to Florida, competing for Championship Wrestling from Florida as Jack the Stretcher Hart, and he defeated Mike Graham in a tournament final to capture the vacant Florida Heavyweight Championship under the guidance of Percival Pringle III, as you all know as Paul Bearer. He would return to the WWF in 1987 as the name we all know and love him as, Barry Horowitz. He wrestled there for a few years, then competed in WCW and the GWF in Texas, and then back to the WWF in 1991. On the July 9th, I did some homework. On the July 9th, 1995 episode of Wrestling Challenge, Horowitz took on our dear friend, the late Chris Candido, then known as Body Donna Skip. We love you, Chris. While Skip was arrogantly doing push-ups in the middle of the ring, Horowitz hooked a three-quarter Nelson and pinned Skip in what was referred to as his first ever, I know it's not, his first ever WWF victory, prompting Jim Ross to utter the words, "Horowitz beat him! Horowitz beat him! Can you believe it?" Barry would then enjoy a great run with Skip, including another victory over the Body Donna at SummerSlam 1995, and was also an entrant in the 1996 Royal Rumble. Barry would then go back to WCW in 97, competing there until 2000, and then returning to the independents. Most recently, he appeared in a vignette in AEW billed as a legendary Jewish wrestler defending current AEW World Champion Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. And this past February, Horowitz appeared in Impact Wrestling and defeated Johnny Swinger in a televised match. He is a well-respected veteran and has literally seen and done it all. And that's why I've rambled all this stuff, because I've been watching you since 1981, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, class of 2023, Barry Horowitz.
Okay, I was going to make this short, but I've been sitting there for hours. And my mind is going a mile a minute. Just forget about what I wanted to say, who I want to talk about that I just met hours ago. Let me just start off with Mike McGurk. And I'll just sum this up real quick. You could tell a girl from Oklahoma, but you can't tell her much. As far as being kayfabed, I was kayfabed by Duke the Dumpster Drosy on an airplane, which I really didn't like, and there'll be repercussions tomorrow. He's lucky he's not here. And as far as, Mario Mancini and Paul Roma, I hate really putting these guys over and saying their name. They both owe me trans, and that's not why they're not here. Just trying to get all the little things out, so bear with me here. It's past my bedtime. I've missed SmackDown. But I didn't miss the Housewives of OC Wednesday. Never. Gotta watch them. And the New Jersey Housewives. It's pretty good. It's enlightening, and it's right up there with almost wrestling. Also, when I went to the restroom numerous times, sorry, I had to do that. I'm on a cleanse, and I have to go back and forth to the bathroom for liquid reasons. And some guy's in there. I'm trying to remember his name. He's a promoter, short with the blue shirt. He did a great job up here. Please help me with this. My brain is Joel. Yeah, I don't like going into the men's bathroom. Joel's jumping up and down, patting himself on the back and marking out for me. Oh my God. You know what you could do to redeem yourself? Book me. Now, let's go with the booking now. Let's go with, should I say this? I'm an MOT, member of the tribe. Right, Joel Gertner? Never booked me. Never, ever. You would think Jewish, Paulie Dangerously was my manager in Memphis. We won't talk about Paul. Well, I mean, why would you book Barry against Skip in the ECW arena when they're chanting, Barry, Barry? Paul doesn't like to do that. Paul doesn't like me, but that's okay. Anyway, I probably wouldn't like ECW. You know why? I know how to wrestle. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you all, I am Barry Horowitz, and I am a professional wrestler. All this ha-ha and gaga about that, and the WWF and the WWE, I don't need to worry. I'm not under contract. There's no stooges here, so I don't give a damn. And I'm older. Excuse me. Yeah, I am older. I'm not old, I'm older. So basically, I don't care. Plus, I get to come to events like this and do meet and greets and take no bumps and still get a good payday. And for keeping me past my bedtime, I dare anybody to buy me breakfast tomorrow morning because I have to be out there signing 9 o'clock, which means I will be out there by 1:15. Which means Barry has to get up at 7 in the morning to get dressed, prepare. It's all about the type A personality. If you don't believe me, ask my wife. Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, that's right. Let's get into that venue. We'll go into that area too. Let's see, wife, 38 years being married. One son. It's pretty good. It's pretty good for this business. And for the 6 months, all she knew was I was Jack Hart. I would not tell her my real name. Well, you got to understand, I didn't know, is this the girl of my dreams, or is this another, shall we say, groupie? Or since I'm not allowed to cuss, which a bunch of you did, I could talk like, I could say, Rhea's at, or she is it. See, I can get over with that. It's not cussing, so I figured I'd just use that instead. But anyway, wanted to test the waters, and I realized she was the girl of my dreams, so Then I finally told her, I think after 6 months, my real name, Barry Horowitz. So, and by the way, that's why my name was changed in the WWF by Vince. This is really good because I kind of like this. He says, we're going to call you Barry Horowitz because you're Jewish and that'll get heat, especially at Boston Gardens and especially at Madison Square Garden. Because let me tell you something, I've been spit on by crazy people that hate the Jewish guy. That's all right, that could wrestle. So, anyway, I think I've got all the gaga and the ha-ha like Chief Jay Strongbow would say, which is definitely the inventor of the Star of David on the trunks. The real trunks were Star of David all over the place, and he made a good point that we're not making a mockery out of the Jews. One Star of David. He made them take it all off, and one on the left, on my left hip, which, if you think about it, it's really classy. So I just wanted to throw that in there. I got so many wrestling stories and so many people I could bury alive. I really like doing it too because they do have heat with me, but I won't. That could be, I don't know, some of them wouldn't even make a book because I wouldn't want to ruin nobody's lives or nothing. So I wouldn't do that, but I would just, I would address different things that I can't stand, like when Harvey Whippleman is a foot from me and he's like right here with this microphone and he's telling me that he got paid $25,000 to be at the big event. Okay, first of all, that makes about as much sense as a one-legged fireman kicking down a screen door in a submarine. Yeah, think about that. Or nailing Jell-O to the wall. Okay, so what did I say to Harvey? Well, first of all, I didn't believe him. And I said, you need to back up a little bit, because if you chewed on a piece of Shia-Zit, that would be a breath mint. He definitely backed up, and that's the last time I spoke to him. People are in a serious mode here. Shoot, Steve Taylor is the best. He took my, I'm serious. I think I talked to Steve Taylor today for 5 minutes. That's the longest in my whole career. Because when he is so busy, he was running around, he's doing things, and I'm sure Vince is yelling and telling him to do stuff like that. But he was just so professional, and I got to respect that. He was just, point on. And I just listened to what he said, and he's the one, Steve is the one that took the infamous picture. I hate it. Not because Steve did it. I just don't like the way I look in that picture. And people love that picture. I mean, there's been major copies, and there's no, I don't know, maybe Steve's got one at home, probably does. But anyway, an original. So, yeah, I wanted to thank Steve, and I have not seen this man in over 25 years. It's crazy. And I want to definitely, big props to everybody that spoke up here, all the wrestlers, the Crown Plaza, what a great venue. I mean, 3 years in the making, this is going to be unbelievable tomorrow, and I'm going to tell you why. Because first of all, the venue is beautiful. The weather is beautiful, okay? And they've been waiting for 3 years. This is going to be, I really think this will be the show of the summer. Tomorrow's Fan Fest, I think it's going to be next level. The time, everything about it, and I'm glad to be part of it. So I wanted to thank Joe Bruin. First of all, Joe Bruin is my new bestie because he got me Subway today. And if you know my backstory on Subway, it's a shoot. Oh yeah, it's a shoot. I've been doing Subway probably since '79, only on the road. Don't do it at home. And it's more healthier now, so that's even better. Just thought I'd slip that in there real quick. So when you hear people about, oh, King of Subway, like my business partner that we're involved in GoodTimesGuaranteed.com every Wednesday. It's a live wrestling auction. Richie Sorrentino, the king of credit. And we own that together, and he does a pretty good job, and he takes care of my Facebook and helps me out a lot. I wanted to give props to him. And everybody that's involved that got me here and inducted me here, Joel's team, his associates, everybody, I really appreciate it. And I don't think I have anything more to say except I think if I actually just threw something like somebody does something different, I'd like to just throw, I think if anybody named any wrestler in my era, I'm going to say I worked with them or I learned something from them. I dare to say, this is not a trick question, one person to say one person. You'll probably say something that I didn't work with him. Hulk Hogan doesn't count. Anybody want to say one wrestler from my era? Excuse me? Brad Armstrong. Great one. First of all, the worker of the family, him and his father. Then comes Scott. Phenomenal. And good referee, too, by the way. Yeah. Brad Armstrong, Tom Zink, Brian Pillman, Tommy Wildfire Rich. I'd go in the ring with them. They say nothing. Nothing. Let me lead the whole match. They trusted me because I know the secret. And the secret is, and a lot of even some veterans don't know this, the secret is to get the match over. And what I mean by that is not hurry up to go to the strip club and waste a bunch of money and get a quick shower. What does it mean? You get Earl Hebner over, the referee. You get Barry Horowitz over. You get Owen Hart over. You get the fans over. That's how you have, between that, psychology, your look, your professionalism, your attire, you got a winning package. And you got to think positive. And it can't be it can't be just, tonight, for instance, I wrestled last year for WrestlePro New Jersey, almost this time, it was last May, I'm sorry. I was called up. I thought this was a great idea. And I'm going to be in the main event in Rahway, New Jersey. Isn't there a prison around there? Okay. I think Stallone filmed a movie there, too. But anyway, I was on last, 8th match. Got up at 3:30 in the morning from Florida. Went to Newark Airport, which is chaotic. Had no food in me. Then I got these guys from Canada that want to do a video, a real shoot for 2 hours. And they're swerving me somehow. They're on my list, by the way. But do all that, and to stand around a building, the only thing that reminded me is when I first started for Vince Sr., and I would do Allentown and Hamburg, Tuesday and Wednesday, have to be at the building at noon, unless you're in that level where you could come in from after the gym at 5 to 7. I was never there, and I don't really care, but it was I would wrestle 6 times in 2 days, and hard matches, too. They're putting me in with Angela Mosca, Senior, these next people I admire so much, and I wanted to get to them that helped me in my career. Let's just rewind. My wife calls this a mishmash. Sometimes I'm all over the place, especially when I'm a little tired, but I will get through this. So anyway, I did that hardcore match and got through that. Never been in a hardcore match in my life. I'm doing wrestling and mixing it with toaster throwing. I'm taking an elbow drop, Randy Savage style, off a 9-foot ladder, trusting Joey Janelli. I don't even know this guy. I know he's crazy because one of those chairs came at me like right here, and I've watched enough hardcore matches to, you get savvy about that. But I'm probably one of the only hardcore matches that put him in an abdominal stretch at the top of the bleachers and then pushed him all the way down as he took a bump of at least 15 stairs. Yeah, from the top of the bleacher all the way to the floor. So, what I'm saying is, getting back to my training as far as being an amateur wrestler, I won state, I went to FSU, I got my ass kicked in FSU, but I got presented a chance by a very wealthy, and I'm not being racist or nothing, but Jewish entrepreneur. This guy had a lot of money. And a friend of a friend, and he liked doing things for people. He introduced me to different people, but he had connections that I had none. And all of a sudden, I'm showing up at this judo school and meeting Professor Boris Malenko and his shooter sons, okay? And I'm in there. If I had to do it all over again, even with my injuries, I would do it, because let me tell you something, I'm not knocking any trainer in this area. I mean, this New England area, three big things, the wrestling fans, the wrestling, and the New England Patriots. So, huge fan. You know that because Tom Brady won us one in Tampa in 10 months. Do your job, says Bill. But anyway, so I was trained by Malenko, and I was there 3 times a week, 3 hours a night in a mattress factory. I'm sorry, the judo school, I took bumps on 1-inch mats from Jody Malenko, power slams, backdrops, brutal. I'm 20 years old. I could take it. I got a part-time job. I'm training. This is what I want. I've been watching it since Florida Championship Wrestling. I don't know, 13. That whole office, Mike Graham, Eddie Graham, Brian Blair, Steve Kern, all of those guys treated me good, and it's rare a guy that lives there gets a break. As far as I know, it was only me, Brian Blair, and Steve Kern that got that went to school there. So I was flattered. I'm nobody. I don't have a father for a wrestler. I don't have any of these credentials. But the one thing that the one promoter, and he is in my top 3, Otto Wantz from Austria, he didn't care what I looked like, what I was doing, you could wrestle. And that's what he wanted. He came for me for 3 years. I said, I'm under contract with Vince. I can't come. I'm sorry. I made sure, I kept ends, just in case. And sure enough, it did happen. I go to Austria. They wrestle rounds. I'm seeing guys there that are retired today, and their champion almost looks like Bret Hart a little bit, similar style, which is my style. And his name was Franz Schumann. He hasn't been beat in 4 or 5 years. And if I'm not mistaken, I defeated him with a Noki's finish as a submission. I swear, I can't believe there was no right. You couldn't hear nothing. It just went dead. They couldn't believe this guy lost and submitted to me. They just couldn't believe it. It just went, they didn't boo, there was no riot, they just couldn't, but with my know-how and that wrestling match, that's why they did believe it. Because on any given Sunday or any given day, somebody's going to lose. Patriots lose, Buccaneers lose, everybody loses. Mike Tyson loses, Hogan loses. So the deal was I couldn't hold the belt. I had to keep it there in Austria, come back in 3 weeks and drop it back to him. And that was a brutal match, too, because it was in a hockey arena and the ring was in the middle with plexiglass. And needless to say, my head had to go into that plexiglass a few times. And we know where we're going there, which I don't do that too often, but sometimes red makes you bread, if you know what I'm saying. So, getting back to the Malenkos, the best trainers, bar none. The way they train. There's no promos. There's no super kicks. You learn how to get in a ring. You grab a headlock. You learn how to give... I love critique in wrestling. That's my next, that's what I want to do. I love being a coach, and why? Because I was taught the Malenko way, and I've watched other guys come out of schools, and I'm still showing them how to take a tackle and grab a headlock the proper way. Is it the only way? No, but that's the way I taught, and the way I look at it and watch other guys, I think my way and Malenko's way is the way. I really do. I'm a big believer in that. And if you ever go to YouTube and you watch Jody Malenko, Joe Malenko, Dean Malenko, these are wrestling machines. Now, as far as Jody goes, his reputation is he's a shooter. And when I mean a shooter, I don't mean Kurt Angle, I don't mean Brock Lesnar. This dude takes you down and he wants to rip your elbow out. He's a hooker, he's a shooter, and he's been trained by Carl Gotch. He lived with them. I'm fortunate to say I was trained by the Malenkos, Carl Gotch, and Carl von Stroheim. And I think between them, my mindset, listening to people as I went on, they built the foundation in my house. After 18 months, they said, now you could buy boots. Gives me this sheet of paper that says Don Owen's name on it. It's got Stu in Calgary. It's got Gorilla Monsoon's home phone number in New Jersey. And I'm going, oh, yep, this is it. You're on your own. So I'm thinking, I had some friends and family that were up in that area. I'm in Belmar, New Jersey, at a payphone a mile from the beach, calling Monsoon up, and his wife answers the phone. Could I speak to Gorilla Monsoon? And I'm thinking, I'm going to work a worker. I'm 21. I don't know how to even do this, but I don't know. Maybe it was the Jewish in me. I know how to talk. I don't know what to say, but I think it works. So I go, well, how long have you been working, kid? 2 years. That's a lie. Well, who broke you in? Can't say Malenko because he had issues with the Florida office, and there may have been a Jewish thing there. Somebody don't like somebody, whatever. I don't care. Eddie Graham, Matsuda. Okay, come to TV. Come to TV. I am so overwhelmed when I go by that curtain. Bob Orton Jr., Slaughter, Bob Backlund's a champion, Adrian Adonis with the leather jacket, Ventura, Rick Martel, Tony Gurria. I mean, Saito, Fuji, and Blackjack Mulligan and stuff. And I'm just like, I'm nervous as hell. But what do? You have got to go to each one of them and shake their hands. You got to. It's just a rule of thumb, which, by the way, some of that has disappeared. I know wrestling's changed, but certain things, Tom Brady throws a ball, Dan Marino throws a ball. You know where I'm going with this. They throw the ball, they throw a spiral. It's not going to be 30 years later, it's a different way of throwing the spiral. Okay, so I would some people, that's called, in my eyes, as I grow as a veteran, it's just disrespectful, and I don't put it over. I don't care. Whatever. So now I get this done, and I'm there for about a year. And I go up to Vince Sr. in Hamburg. He's got a makeshift office. I'm nervous. And I just said to him, I said, I'm just putting people over on TV. I've got no problem with that. But I'm belt bumping and this and that. I want to show you I could wrestle. I could do this. I need to go somewhere. I need to go to the next level. So he's going to send me, Vince McMahon's going to send me to Portland, Oregon for Don Owens. Well, he has Jimmy Snuka do it for him. But Jimmy can't get me in. It's full. And by the way, as far as liking people, Jimmy Snuka and the whole Samoan family that are related to they're all related, unbelievable people. Why? They're true athletes. I'm serious. These are the same people like Andre. They don't like, and sorry guys, they don't like Ultimate Warriors. They don't like Lex Lugers. They want to see wrestlers. Okay, and it was I don't know, it was just a humbling experience. And then when I did all this, we couldn't get in, so he makes a phone call to Jim Crockett and gets me there. I drive there, I do TV right away. Hey, your name is Barry Hart, and we got a heel manager named Gary Hart. Well, back then it mattered, now it don't. Michael Hayes, Dory Funk Jr., Booker and assistant Booker. Michael goes, I'm going to call you Bret Hart. I don't know there's a Bret Hart. And I go, whoa, that is a cool name. That's me now. I'm not Jack Hart no more. I'm Bret Hart or Barry Hart. So, of course, that was pretty cool until it was weird. I went to the Maple Leaf Gardens, and people, well, how's your dad? I guess I may have resembled him back then. I don't know. And their sweet daddy Sika comes up to me, and I go, I got to work this right. I could work a little bit now verbally. I said, he's doing good, doing good. And I guess they all thought I was Bret Hart. Until finally, when I do get to WWF and Bret's there, he wouldn't talk to me for a year. 1 year, and then I think what he realized, what was going on, I think it was part of a rib too, but he realized my credentials, my resume. I was staying at his house when we did the Calgary Saddle Dome, I think it's called that. So I guess that was a big thing. Bad News Brown liked me, which I was happy. You don't want heat with him. And of course, I met all the Harts. And it got squashed, but it took a while. But to this day, you know how guys change from the business? They're not under contract, they're not being scrutinized, and maybe they change upstairs. Some do, some don't, some get worse, some are in prison, some are dead. I don't know. But to this day, every time I see Bret, it's very it's real sincere. And then I hear this stuff about him on podcasts about the Hall of Fame and stuff. And, you know, when it comes to the WWE Hall of Fame, first of all, when I think of Hall of Fame, I think of pro wrestlers. When I think of the NFL, that's what I see. I don't see Kid Rock. I don't see the guy with the fake hair commercial, or I don't see Sonny. I don't see these people in there. And so I think it was, don't quote me on this, but I think it was told by Scott Steiner once. He says, the guy's interviewing him in a car, and he says, hey, Scott, where do you think this Hall of Fame really is? Because you know the Shoot Hall of Fame was in New York, went to Texas, back in New York. And now, of course, you've got the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, which is awesome. You've got the one in Iowa, Waterloo, which is majorly big time, I think, for amateur and pro. So where do you think the Hall of Fame is? And Scott goes, in Vince's head. That's a Shoot statement if you think about it. And as far as thanking people, I will thank Vince McMahon. I was under contract with him. I did things. I got pushed, which I never thought I would. But let me tell you something. Every friggin' TV, put the oil on, put your boots on, be at that gorilla. And I've had many times, Barry, your match is canceled. Thank you. I'm not going to kick garbage cans, put it over, scream, because it's going to go back to the office, because the Stooges are listening, okay? First of all, I don't do that. I don't operate that way. I'm getting paid for putting my boots on in my dream. Why would I do that? You know what? You're a mark if you do that. And you're a mark if you call me a mark. So I don't have too much respect for that. And in closing, I could go on with a lot more stories and a lot of things more to tell. But that starts to get into my little thing when I do these meet and greets and I do these 3-hour wrestling seminars for schools, and they may have 10 or 12 students. And what I like about teaching is I teach them in the ring and out of the ring. So basically, how to conduct yourself, be on time. When you got your wrist tape, don't throw it on the floor. You're in friggin' Madison Square Garden or the Centrum in Worcester. Throw it in the garbage can. Be a pro. We're not carniacs. We're not backyard wrestlers. If you want to be, that's cool. I'm not going to be that way. That's why I took the steps to go into amateur wrestling, and that's it. Not football. I wanted to climb the steps. I really thought it was essential and building blocks. And to this day, in my eyes, amateur wrestling is an institution of building, keep out of trouble. It builds character. It's incredible for you. I friggin' love it. The only thing that's better than that as far as training, and I'm sorry, I really believe in this wholeheartedly, is MMA, specifically UFC. So that's it. I hope you guys had a good night. It's past my bedtime. That bothers Barry a lot. But I'm spoiled, but anything for Joe Bruin and the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame and this whole area. And I also want to say that tomorrow is going to be incredible. I know it is. And I hope we all have fun. I know we are. And I think I've hit on everything. I forgot to tell you, I'm a huge country music fan. All right. That's what I want to hear. Yep. If you don't believe me, just check out the Song of the Year on CMT, Joe Diffie, Pickup Man, and you will see Barry Horowitz 4 times with his Billy Ray full-blown personified mullet. And I think that's it. I'll just leave you with a quick, I'm going to do a spot show pat on the back instead of the Madison Square Garden one. Just give it right there. That's for the B shows. Of course, for the big shows, the pay-per-views, we can go way back here. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Started watching him when I was 12 years old. I started watching you when I was 12 years old, man. No, I'm saying I'm old. That was friggin' awesome. I'm old, you're older, but man, we're gonna have a good time at FanFest tomorrow. I thank you guys, especially Steve Taylor, Barry Horowitz, Mike McGurk, Joel Gertner, everybody that stuck around. Paula was like second up, man. Thank you guys. Richard Lannon, trained by Killer Kowalski. Everybody here. Thank you guys so much. Let's wrap it up. FanFest tomorrow, 9 a.m. I got a Q&A with Charlie Min at 9 o'clock. Let's freaking go. We got any more beer up in the room, boys? All right, guys. Thank you. Good night. New England Hall of Fame. Sandy Starr is a freaking legend. I love you.